Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Celtic Warband here, and thanks for tuning in to another epic battle in Rome 2 Total War. And when I was thinking about which battle I wanted to showcase for you guys today, I had realized that I hadn't uploaded a port assault or a unfortified town assault or a siege battle in general in quite some time. It's been mostly land battles as of late. So with that in mind, I've decided to show you guys a 3 vs 3 port assault today, and it's actually not very long at all. It's less than 20 minutes for the entire battle. So with that in mind, because it's so short, what I'm going to do is focus mostly on the naval engagement first off, and then once that is finished, then we'll go ahead and check out the actual assault on the city itself. So sit back and enjoy, and without further ado, let's take a look at the army comps. The first army on the battlefield today is the Seleucids, and this one is commanded by myself, and most of the players have brought some naval units and land units, so with all the army comps, I'm going to look at the naval units first, and then jump to the land units so you can see them kind of as separate entities, because we're going to be looking at them in separate battles. But for mine, it's very, very easy to take a look at my navy. I've only brought 5 units, and all of them consist of Royal Peltis, and they are on Assault Hexeres, which are pretty heavy ships, so they do have good ramming capabilities. And I've also got my General over here as well, so I'm going to have to be very careful not to lose him early on. And the battle starts literally right away, so all of these army comps will be looked at while paused. So let's just jump quickly to my land forces, and then we'll move on to the next player. So because I only brought a few naval units to the battlefield, it does mean that I do have the ability to bring a fairly substantial land army. And I've got them kind of in a very defensive position, even though I am an attacker. And the reason for that is because I expect that I will have to micro my units almost immediately in the naval engagement, and I won't really have time to be watching over here what's going on until the naval engagement is finished. So with that in mind, I brought some pretty defensive units here. I've got 3 units of Thorac pikemen in the front lines. I also have a Greek ballista right in behind that. I've got a nice line here of 4 units of archers. On the flanks, I've got 2 units of camel spearmen. They're pretty cheap, but I wanted to have at least some cavalry for this battle, so I went with the camel spearmen because I don't think I was able to afford the citizen cavalry. But my main melee infantry is 5 units of thorax swordsmen. So my plan is to kind of just hold up here for now and rely on my allies to kind of pen in the defenders within the city, and then be able to support them once the naval engagement is over. But with that in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at my allies. The second army on the battlefield today is the Suebi, commanded by Hamdog CDXX, and Hamdog has actually brought a full naval force to the battlefield, so almost all of them are ships, with the exception over here of, I believe, 2 units of cavalry, because the cavalry, I think, at least in Empire Divided, they always spawn on land. I know for Rome 2, the original, I don't think that was the case. I think that if you did bring cavalry in the Navy and you were doing a port assault, they would land, but just to be an infantry unit. So I think this is something, a new mechanic that's been brought about in Empire Divided. But yeah, he's got a few units of noble riders over here. Looks like he's also got a couple units of Spear Brothers here that are looking to aid the cavalry. But his main force over here consists of a lot of these Bloodsworn right in the front lines. He's also got some Sword Masters here, 4 of them. And then more Bloodsworn on this side, so 4 total. He's also got an artillery ship here, so hopefully he can get some good kills with that German onager. He has his general right in the center, the Heavy Raider Swordmasters. And it looks like we got 2 more Spear Brothers over on this flank, and 4 units of the Longbow Hunters. So pretty formidable force. You don't really see the Germanics bringing a full naval force to the battlefield today, but it is kind of cool to see the Suebi and their melee infantry on ships. Very, very Roman-esque or Greek-looking ships, so I'm sure that the Seleucids have lent them some of their ships to be able to get the army across and to partake in the battle. But that is it for the Suebi, so let's go ahead and take a look at the final attacker. The final attacking army on the battlefield today is Macedon, commanded by Grim Guardian, and Macedon is probably my favorite faction in Rome too. A really iconic faction, probably my favorite Greek faction in general, although I'm not really liking them that much in my Ancient Empires gameplay right now, but if you guys did check out my last episode, we've actually got some hope. I'm actually starting to make some decent income even in the winter time, so I might be able to continue that after all. But looking at Grim Guardian's force, I really enjoy the way that he set up his force. So it looks like he's got his pikemen in the front line. He has 2 units of Thorac pikemen on either side of a foot companion. And then right in behind, he's got 3 units of Royal Peltis, which are a really underrated unit. I really like using Royal Peltis. I know that they're a lot lighter infantry than, you know, a Thorax Swords unit, but just the fact that they are able to have, I think, what does it tell how many ranged shots they have? The Royal Peltis. It does not, but I've won some battles when it came down to my Royal Peltis, just due to the fact that I actually didn't spend my money on archers, but I rather brought Royal Peltis instead because they're just as versatile as a ranged unit as they are in melee. So yeah, if you guys have not tried the Royal Peltis out, I suggest that you do. Even the Peltis unit, which is much cheaper, they are really good at tearing up enemy pikemen and enemy elites like the Osworn, because they throw Pila. They don't just throw, or they don't use arrows or slings, so they've got some armor-piercing damage to them as well. I don't know if armor-piercing damage applies to them in the game, but I would assume in real life that would definitely shred your armor. But a little tangent there, but he's got 3 units of Royal Peltis. His general over here is the Companion Cavalry, the elite companions. And then he has 3 units of hoplites. Now, 1 is in the center, 1 is over on this flank, and 1 on this flank. But he's brought almost a mercenary flank here, which I really, really like how he's got all of the mercenaries to one side, which is pretty historically accurate of how the Macedonians actually formed up their forces. They would mostly put their line of, you know, pikemen and their silver shields, their elite units in the center, and they would get some of the levy troops over on the one flank. You can see he's got 3 units of Thorax swords here. But they would almost create a mercenary flank on one side as well, and then reinforce it with cavalry. So with that in mind, it looks like he's brought 3 units of mercenary Thracian warriors, and these guys will destroy enemies in melee. You have to be careful with them, though, because you can see they are quite lightly armored, so you gotta watch them with enemy slingers and enemy archers, because they will get torn apart by the arrow fire. But he also has 4 units of mercenary Rhodian, 2 units of mercenary Rhodian slingers and 2 units of mercenary Cretan archers on either flank, and that is it for his force. But yeah, I know I love to spend a little bit of time looking at the Macedonian units because I just love the faction so much. But that is it for all of the attacking armies, so without further ado, let's take a look at the defenders. The first defending army on the battlefield today is Macedon, commanded by Sledge 2268. So we've got a bit of Macedonian civil war here, and that rings a little too true to my heart, again, given my Ancient Empires campaign. So I'm going to pretend that this is Nicanor here, who, for those of you guys who have not seen my Ancient Empires gameplay as Macedon, Nicanor was one of my Macedonian nobles who actually rebelled against me in my most dire state, or my time of need, when I would have needed him most, and he actually took a lot of my forces with him and caused a major civil war that almost lost me the game. I think it was in part 4. So, yeah, I'm just envisioning that this is all kind of ringing true in Rome 2 here today with Macedon on both sides. But anyways, yes, Sledge 2268 is the commander of Macedon here, and he has also brought a full naval force to the battlefield. That was kind of the rule, because it's only an unfortified port assault. There's no way there's enough room for three enemy armies inside the city. So with that in mind, Hamdog CDXX has brought full force as the Suebi, and then Sledge 2268 has brought his full force as the Macedonian fleet. However, he's brought 8 units of these fire pots, and now these do have the potential to be really deadly in naval warfare, but I'm not sure how he's going to fare with them. I guess we'll find out in the upcoming engagement, but they're just very difficult to use. So the fact that he's brought 8 of them is a little worrisome to me. However, if he does use them correctly, it will just destroy whatever naval presence we do have in this battle. He's also brought a few units of archers. He's got one of the missile penteras and one of the missile hepteras. I think he also has another penteras over on this flank, and then his general is actually a heavy tower hepteras. If I'm not pronouncing that correctly, I do apologize. Again, more fire pots over here, and then he's got the other 4 on this side. The rest of his force is all Thurio spears, so he's really spent a lot of money on his fire pots. I'm not sure, but I think they're quite expensive, something like 840 to 940 gold. Or Florence. So yeah, having 8 units of Thurio spears. I mean, spears are pretty solid, but when they're going up against Bloodsworn, ooh, that's going to be a tough matchup. However, the Macedonians are probably better known for their naval warfare than the Suebi are. But let's go ahead and take a look at the final 2 defending armies, and then we'll finally get this battle started. The second defending army on the battlefield today is the Kingdom of Kush, and this one is commanded by Max Laser, and he's gone with the same kind of build type that I'm going with as the Seleucids, and he's only bringing 3 units of ships, so very light on the naval presence, and then most of his army is going to be a land army to defend the city with. But he does have one of these units of giant ballista here, or African ballista, sorry. And then he's also got 2 units of fire pots as well. So 3 units total. And then most of his army is over in the center here. He's got 4 units of these Nubian bowmen. And then he's got a few units of these armored Shotel warriors here. These guys look really cool, and they fight with scythes. That is terrifying. But Max Laser, he's a big lover of these new DLC factions. I've seen him play the Macedonian and the Kingdom of Kush. And I think there was another one that he plays, oh, the Saba tribe as well. But he's also got 2 units of these Disciples of Epidemic. And they've got some leopard print on their shields, and they have lion headdresses. How awesome is that? How neat is that? But he's also got 4 units of Shotel warriors here. 2 over on this flank, and then 2 on that flank. And again, they also fight with scythes and shields. But a little bit less armor, I think, than the armored Shotel warriors. He's got his general bodyguard over here, the Kushite Royal Cavalry, or the Royal Guard. And then he's got a unit of armored desert cavalry as well. And that is it for the Kingdom of Kush. They may have a couple more hidden units that we don't see yet, but if I do see that, we will look at them as the battle progresses. So one more army, guys, and then we will get the battle started. The final defending army on the battlefield today is the Britons, commanded by the Red Celt, and he is defending the city alongside the Kingdom of Kush, and he has brought a full land force, so he has no naval units, so that does mirror Grim Guardian's Macedonian force. So basically, there is an attacker and a defender with a land army, there's an attacker and a defender with a land and naval army, and then there is an attacker and a defender with a full naval force. So it just gives a little bit of a mix, but it kind of evens the playing field on land and at sea. But looking at the Britons, he's got 4 units of Briton slingers in the front lines here. And then he's got 3 units of Chosen Spearband. Then he's also got 4 units of Spearband. We've got a unit of Druidic Nobles here as well. These guys are probably very overpowered. I think that I did see these when he did play in my Rome 2 campaign way back when, and they did quite well for themselves. He also has 3 units of Painted Ones, which are kind of a shock infantry unit. And then he has a couple units of chosen swordband right in behind, and then his general is a heroic nobles. But finally, that is it for the army comps, guys, so let's go ahead and get the naval battle started. Alright guys, so welcome to the naval engagement, and I'm pushing forwards my 5 units of Royal Peltis to engage the Kingdom of Kush's forces as well as the Macedonian forces. I am outnumbered quite a bit, 9 to 5, because we've got 6 units of the Macedonians and 3 of the Kingdom of Kush. But my Royal Peltis are a very sturdy unit. However, I am staring down this African ballista here, and it looks like he's going to get a really good hit on my general's bodyguard there. So I was a little concerned about that. I really wanted to move in to engage this unit very quickly. And I wasn't really too bothered about the fire pots, because the fire pots, they do fire damage, but they don't do overall damage to your ship unless, if they do, it's very, very slow. But he's moving his fire ships right in to engage mine, but that is just going to destroy both of these. That was a really bad idea for him to try and ram my much larger ships like that. The way you have to use fire ships is to try and get them onto the flanks and then slam into the side with them. But yeah, I'm not even going to bother engaging these two with both of my ships. I'm just going to go straight for this one. But if you watch there, see, that was an excellent shot with the fire pot. It rammed right into my side, and I think it did 50% fire damage. 46% and 9 overall damage, I think, from the ram. But he's also lost this ship over here, which is a little bit concerning. Looks like the Macedonians have pushed in their much larger Heptarish ship with the archers. Now, they will have the ability to fire from a higher range. However, my Royal Peltis are going to have the better armor-piercing damage. Not that they're wearing armor, but I think they do more overall damage and get more overall kills. But I'm quickly trying to go after this artillery ship. The good thing about the Royal Peltis is that I'm able to kind of shower them down as this artillery ship is trying to pull away. But yeah, we've just wrecked them over here. I think I have lost, or I will lose one ship very soon. But I don't want to focus too much more over here because it's already, the battle over here is already underway. You can see that Hamdog CDXX is really playing into the strengths of the Suebi by boarding them. He isn't really trying to do much ramming, which is a really good idea. He's getting these elite swordmasters and the Bloodsworn onto the ships where the Thurio Spears are and trying to take the fight to them. However, a nice ram from the Firepot ships on this flank has sunk this unit here, which I think is... What are these? The Bloodsword, yeah, so that's sinking below the waves there. However, good support on the flanks here with the Longbow Hunters. Getting some good shots onto the Firepot Militia Hoplites. They're really depleted. And it looks like we've got the general ship over here, which is getting hit pretty hard by Hamdog CDXX's German Onager. So that is not a good thing for him to be staring down the Onager like that. There we go, another shot into the side, 49% damage, but it looks like it's going to go over here and try and ram this melee ship. Oh, just missing with that shot right across the bow there. But this is such a massive ship, this tower ship here. Getting some more good hits. The good thing about these tower ships, too, is that they actually fire unlimited ammo. So, and they're also fire arrows as well, so they can do fire damage to enemy ships. But yeah, this German Onager here just sitting here is a really bad thing for this general. And I think the Macedonian player realizes just a little bit too late. He's still really bent on trying to sink this ship here. And there we go. I think that was the last one, and there goes the general's bodyguard. Looks like they're just going to jump right off the side into the waves, where they will perish. Which is too bad. And I think that is going to help Hamdog take the naval engagement here. You can see his general is still very healthy, and his units are just slaughtering these Thurio Spears. This unit of Thurio Spears here is doing quite well, though. The Swordmaster's having a bit of trouble. I think they were being focused down by some archers early on in the game. But, yeah, unfortunately, these Thurio Spears and their much smaller ships, they just kind of get obliterated. And I think Hamdog here, he's got 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So he's only lost 6 units in this engagement, but he's destroyed most of the Macedonian force. And meanwhile, I had 5 units, and I've lost 1. And the enemies have lost 9, unfortunately. However, due to even though we had such a success in the naval battle, the balance of power is still very, very even. And yeah, just showering the last of these Thurio spears here. We're getting some sword masters on there. But I love this player here and not giving up. He's set up for a nice ram onto the flank of this unit here. Getting a nice hit. How much damage did that do? 58% damage, so well done. I'm not sure if it's going to break before it can get another shot. But here we go. It looks like we've got the general, the sword masters coming in. Nice. So yeah, actually sunk that ship. So kind of a last hit with the Thurio spears before they inevitably die right here. Actually, it was a good ram, but they've already shattered. So that is it for the naval engagement, guys. A little bit chaotic, but a pretty clear victory for the attackers. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on land. Alright guys, so now we come to the land part of this battle, and I was microing so hard with my units on the sea, with my 5 units of Royal Peltis, that I completely neglected to watch my land units. I was under the false sense of security with my formation, and I didn't expect the defenders to actually charge out of the city, just given the fact that the naval engagement was so much in our favor. However, Max Laser has proved me wrong. And while I'm microing, trying to take out his annoying artillery ship, he's actually pushed his Shotel warriors and his armored desert cavalry out, and is just destroying my Seleucid army over here. You can see over on this flank too, he's really focusing the flanks with his cavalry. Clearly his Kushite Royal Guard and his armored desert cavalry will outclass my camel spearmen. And this is just about the time where I notice what's going on, and you can see that I'm scrambling to try to get a good position with my units. But unfortunately, I think it's a little bit too late, so really, really well done by Max Laser. And it just goes to show you that it really doesn't matter how often you play Total War. You can still make newbie mistakes like this if you're not careful. And this is one that has definitely cost me. Look at my ballista. It's just getting torn apart. A lot of the ballista are catching fire because of the fire shot from the enemy. Are these archers? Yeah, Nubian bowmen. And it still has a ton of ammo, so the fact that Max Laser has charged in so quickly has made this Greek ballista almost useless. Now, I am still getting some good shots into the Nubian bowmen, but I think that's a fair trade-off for Max Laser. He would rather lose his Nubian bowmen than his more elite armored Shotel warriors. But look at this, my Thorak pikemen getting absolutely thrashed here. My Thorak swords are trying to hold as best as they can, but my battle line is just gone at this point. And now I'm really kind of hoping that Grim Guardian can turn this one around. And that is the reason why the balance of power is so even. Even though we did so well on the naval side, it was my folly not to check my land units from time to time. That has led to me losing about 1,500 men or 2,000 men. But the battle is very much underway here. Grim Guardian is having a little bit better of a time because he's got these Thorak pikemen. And the Britons lack any kind of pike units, so they're going to lose a lot of their chosen spears. And it's really sad to see these painted warriors here against the pikemen, because just looking at the bodies on the ground, you can see most of them are painted warriors. And the reason for that is because they do have a good melee defense, but they don't have any armor, so the pikemen are just able to kind of tear them down at will. Just look at how many are falling. Looks like they are trying to get into combat, though, but the Thorak pikemen taking out their swords and cutting them down. But we do have a very nice battle line here. Looking very cinematic. But Grim Guardian doing pretty well. However, he's actually being flanked over here by some ambushers, which we did not see in the army composition. They were probably hidden in these trees because they have Vanguard deployment. But well done to Grim Guardian. He notices those and turns around a unit of Thorak swordsmen to battle it out. I would have liked him to be a little more aggressive with his companion cavalry and maybe coming to save me. And same with Hamdog CDXX. I think he was so focused on what was going on at sea, but these two units of noble riders could have come in handy in saving my forces. You can see that they're just walking forwards. So either they just didn't get the message that the Seleucids were being cut down on the slopes outside the city, or they just didn't care because they're Greeks and we're Germans, and quite possibly, if this was a real scenario, these Suebi would be mercenaries, so I don't think they would be that motivated to save the Seleucid army. So yeah, pretty even, but actually a little bit, I'd say, in favor of the defenders at this point. However, the Red Celt is sending forward his Chosen Sword Band because, like I said, these Painted Warriors and the Chosen Spear Band are really getting hammered by the Thorac Pikemen. And we've also got some Hoplites in the mix too. It looks like they are very healthy. And the Thracian Warriors here, they're going to give the Painted Ones a run for their money for sure. Looks like Grim Guardian is also pushing on the flanks here as well. He's got a unit of Hoplites that is staring down a unit of Spearband, actually 2 units of Spearband. And we've also got some Slingers over here as well. Nice flank there by the ambushers, or sorry, on the ambushers by the Hoplites, or the Hoplites. Oh, nice volley as well before the Thorax Swordsmen go in to finish the job. Excellent, excellent. So yeah, the general kind of just sitting here. Would have been nice if he had come to help, but you know what? By the time we all realized it, I think it was a little bit too late. Like, my army is gone from the field. And look how healthy Max Laser's force is. I don't think I routed one of his units. Just a shameful display. Shameful display! As Shogun 2 would have told me, for sure. So I am basically down to my 5 units of Royal Peltis that were, or actually 4, that were victorious over the Macedonian Kushite alliance at sea. Again, guys, haven't tested this on a Rome 2 battle as well, so do let me know if you think that the volume is a little bit too high. I'm testing it with my headset a little bit closer to my face because I felt I was a little bit quiet last time. But if you find that it's too loud or you can like hear me breathing or anything like that, then just let me know in the comments and I'll push it back just a little bit or adjust my gain. Yeah, the Chosen Swords seem to be doing quite well. Now, what are they fighting here? Oh, looks like they're fighting Royal Peltis. So that's what I'm saying, guys. These Royal Peltis here are going toe-to-toe with Chosen Sword Band. So this unit is a very elite unit. I think it's one of the best swords that Iceni can bring. And the Royal Peltis are holding. Now, it does say that they're losing it. Granted, they're not going to be as good as them, but they're holding their own. And keep in mind that these guys are a missile unit, so they probably did get a decent amount of kills before charging into melee. But here we go. Looks like Grim Guardian is starting to use his general over here. I've disembarked my general, the Royal Peltis, but he's got a long way to run, so it's going to take me quite a while to be able to support them. Looks like the Red Celt has noticed this, and he's trying to get his heroic nobles to catch the companion cavalry here. But the companion cavalry is going right for a charge on these 2 units of Spearband. So let's actually go down and take a look at this charge, see how effective it is. Companion cavalry is a very heavy cavalry unit, so nice, very nice into the Spearband. And actually, that may shatter them quite quickly. Yeah, both of them starting to waver, and these Briton slingers trying to escape, but the companion cavalry actually catches them. So well done there. He's got to be a little careful, though, because he's behind enemy lines now. So he's going to have to try and sneak him away or risk getting hit by some of these Briton slingers. But no matter, the noble riders for Suebi have arrived. And also, I've got my Royal Peltis that were able to land over here, much closer than the general. And now I've got the heroic nobles trapped with my units of Royal Peltis. And if you're wondering why I didn't charge right in, I want to get my Royal Peltis into a shield wall, because that's going to help with their defense against these heroic nobles, because I know that they are a good infantry unit, but they're not the best infantry unit. And especially against the heroic nobles, this is the best of the best that Iceni has. Ooh, some nice stabs into some of the heroic nobles here, though. I love that sword, though. So yeah, I've got the heroic nobles surrounded. And the Macedonian generals kind of just chilling here. We've got the fleet slowly moving in, Hamdog's fleet, but this is a big problem. We've got Max Laser's force showing up right in behind here, and the Macedonians are about to be sandwiched. Luckily, Grim Guardian was kind of on his A game here, and he's got his Thorax Swordsman forming into a shield wall. They are depleted, but they will be able to hold back the enemy while we try to deal with the remaining troops in the center. And we've also got some of the spear band. I guess they steadied themselves after the general pulled out, and they're moving in against the bulk of the Macedonian troops that are fighting over here. So yeah, we've got a couple units of Thorax Swordsmen. This unit of Thorax Swords shattered quite quickly, actually. So that's a little bit of a problem. And we've got another unit of Hoplites being peeled off to deal with these armored Shotel warriors. But most of them are running around the side here, and this is getting them quite tired. So it looks like they're trying to chase after the mercenary Cretan archers and Rhodian slingers, but I don't really see the point in that, to be honest. He would have been much better to focus more of his attention in the center. Well, look at this Hamdog CDXX. Brilliant move there, getting a very wide formation before charging in behind the Spearband and the Chosen Swordband. And the Noble Horse also have a very heavy charge. So that is probably going to see these 3 units off. And yeah, see, I've got one unit over here, Thorac Pikemen, that have come back from routing, but I don't even think I noticed that. So I was not on my A game today, so luckily my allies were faring much better than I was. But now my general is he is exhausted, but he is now flanked around the heroic nobles here, who are also exhausted, and we're completely surrounded. So basically what I keep doing is using the whip on them, and I think that increases their melee attack, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. Yeah, melee attack, weapon damage, and fatigue resistance. But the problem is that they all become exhausted that much quicker. However, I just wanted as much damage to be done to this heroic noble unit as possible, because I know how formidable these guys can be. But here we go. I'm sending my Royal Peltis in over here to get a nice side flank on the armored Shotel warriors. And Max Laser now, he's kind of the main defender that still has an army left, but it's a little bit spread out at this point. See, he's got his archers over here, doing really well to cut down the noble riders. Looks like that unit isn't even going to get into melee against them. But he's got his archers over here, and then he's got a couple units in the center, and some units over here, and some units over here. So I think it's just a little bit too spread out. And now we're inside the city, so the attackers have become the defenders, and the defenders have become the attackers, which is kind of funny. We've got some armored Shotel warriors over here that are still alive, though. I think that they may try to go around and flank around my general to save the Red Celts general. But at this point, the Red Celts forces are pretty much gone, and the balance of power is slowly starting to tip into our favor. Well done with Hamdog here. He brought his noble riders in from behind to catch all of these archers unawares. And I'm not too sure. If Max Laser does watch this, he may comment down below, but I'm not sure if I eliminated at least his cavalry when I lost my entire force, because I don't really see any cavalry in his army, so I'm wondering if he lost most of it, or what. Because, like, I also don't see his general, even. So I'm not sure if he's lost his general at this point, either. But, yeah, it's really not looking good. The Red Celt has been all but destroyed. His heroic nobles are fighting bravely. But the victorious Suebi Navy is coming in as well. He's actually trying to get some cheeky shots here on the armored Shotel warriors with his artillery ship. But he's going to try and land a lot of his forces as quickly as possible, which is very good. And yeah, these armored Shotel warriors do a lot of work. You can see the Thorax swordsmen are starting to waver here. Grim Guardian is sending in some Rhodian slingers to try and deal with them. I finally noticed this unit of pikemen that was way back there. It did have a lot of time to rest, so it's only winded, which is good. But a nice charge from the noble riders probably will see off these disciples of Epidemic. Actually, no, they steadied. Wow, well done. Let's actually zoom in and see some of these lions in melee. These guys kind of remind me of like Jaguar Warriors from Age of Empires 2, which I've actually been thinking of putting some I keep wanting to say Ancient Empires, but I've been wanting to put some Age of Empires 2 content up on the channel as well. So if there's an interest for that, be sure to let me know as well. Oh, nice kill there. Very well done. Oh, but this guy actually killing a Macedonian there. Oh. Yeah, he's gone. Oh, they're kind of trading, like, one for the other, though. Well done there. Oh, looks like only 2 of them are going to get away, though. But they held on. They held on for as long as possible. Now we've got this unit of armored Shotel warriors trying to hold. However, I've got my Seleucid pikemen right in behind. So that is going to cause a bit of problems for them. Let's get some more zoom-ins here. Oh, jump attack there. How would you even fight with that? Like, that is just a massive weapon. I'd imagine it'd be really good for side slashing. So if you held it in the hand that would be opposite your opponent's shield, and you just swung it in kind of a left-handed arc and caught like the side of your opponent, like that would do a lot of damage. But yeah, you can see my pikemen are starting to push forwards here, closing the gap on these armored Shotel warriors. Old brave Macedonians. The Suebi are coming. Although the Suebi, I think, are going to be a little bit too late to the battle here. Yeah, the Red Celt has been destroyed. We've just got the armored Shotel warriors over here, which are quite healthy. They're attacking my general and one of my last units of Royal Peltis, but a huge hit from the companion cavalry is going to cause a little bit of trouble for them. Oh man, they're actually cutting some of them down, and some of the units that have been knocked down are getting back up. So Grim Guardian looks like he's going to try and pull his general out of there. Oh, this guy getting hacked off his horse. That is a brutal death there. Oh, and look at this guy right over there. That was intense. Had him on his knees. Yeah, I'm quickly running out of forces, as you guys can tell. And I'm hearing some fire from the artillery ships as well. Yeah, big hit there into the Shotel warriors, and then a nice charge by the companion cavalry to finish it off. That was actually a ridiculous charge. Well done there. So I think, is that it for the battle? And yes, yeah, right on time. So let's go ahead and look at the end results here. So thanks very much to the people who partook in this battle. Looking at my forces, so here was my units that were on ships, so quite decent kills there, but just utterly destroyed. Like, I'm surprised this unit got 71 kills, but yeah, just got slaughtered. 15 kills on that Greek ballista, pretty terrible. Looking at Hamdog's force, his force was entirely on ships except for the cavalry. Wow, 465 by the noble riders. That is really good. 75 with the onager. And kind of a mixed bag with the other ones. Really good with the archers, actually focusing down a lot of those Thurio spears. And Grim Guardian, who had the force on land, he, I think, was the main heavy lifter of this battle. He did most of the work. But his foot companion surprisingly only got 25 kills. This one getting 149. This one only 2. Wow. So it really came down to his swordsman. And there we go. Look at those Royal Peltis. 292, 279, 257. Really, really good cost-effective unit there. The Thracians not doing that well, but the Hoplites doing pretty solid. And well done with his archers and slingers. Cavalry doing well. Looking at Max Laser, yeah, he just decimated my forces. 428, 420, 342, 287. Like, these are all really high numbers. Even his cavalry did really well. But yeah, he must have lost his cavalry in that engagement. So maybe I killed his general early on. I'm not exactly sure. But Looking at Sledge, who had the Macedonian army at sea. Pretty low kills with those 3-0 spears. I kind of expected that. And look at these fire pots. That's a lot of wasted money there for not much gain. And the red Celt here, 128 with the heroic nobles. Pretty solid with the spears, I would say. Some of these cheaper units, it's a mixed bag. This Slinger, 113 kills, though. Really, really good. So yeah, very diverse battle. There was a lot going on, so that's why I kind of wanted to cover it in 2 segments since it was a shorter battle. But hopefully you guys did enjoy, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more content like this in the future. And as always, I will see you in the next one.